We really need an announcer to announce the show.
Yeah.
I wish Big MF could just come in and announce every show, just live.
That'd be
come
really
in
good.
and just scream in the mic. Just scream. We can get him all juiced up, and then he could go wrestle in the other room the rest of the time. That'd be awesome. Welcome to Inside BJJ. What's going on, Andrew and Omar?
Not too much. What's going on with you?
What's up, Tim?
I'm having a wonderful Thursday evening. So we're really going to have Kemoy Anderson on, I think. I think. It's like a running gag now. But I expect to have him on. And then we're going to talk to Isaac, the Wandering Grappler. And Isaac is one of the producers who works with Keenan for PGF. So it'd be cool to have him on. He's a pretty cool dude. Got to hang out with him a little bit in Las Vegas during the qualifiers. So it'd be neat to have him on. He's a pretty funny dude. So yeah. So looking forward to that when that happens. When Kemoy calls, we'll just get him on. But
Sweet.
Yeah. So a couple things, two really big things. One, I want to get out of the way because once we talk about the next subject, we'll probably talk about it for a minute. But the eclipse came and went, and I didn't notice anything. You know why? Because I'm employed. You know, I was working. I didn't have time to go outside and put a special glasses on. There was no chance for that. Nothing.
So you're employed. I think some people would say that will definitely agree with you anyway. Don't know why I can't get my words out tonight.
Yeah.
I think there are others that would say that because during the eclipse, CERN turned on their Hadron Collider, we all got knocked into another parallel universe.
Oh, is that the... did they turn it on?
The old us died.
They turned it on during the eclipse.
Yeah.
Why do they got to do that?
Because they're weird and they know it.
Oh, my God. That is a weird move.
They are the best trolls or they're actually Luciferian, one of the two.
My money's on number 2.
The latter, for sure.
I mean, if you were running CERN and you had a good sense of humor, like you
That'd
could...
be the day to do it.
Right.
I mean, it is a bunch of nerds.
Yeah, so. Maybe we are getting trolled by CERN. That's kind of disconcerting, though, that they did that. Not cool.
Yeah. It's kind of a dick move.
Kind of a dick move. Yeah.
It doesn't help that they have a giant Kali goddess of death outside, just like a huge statue outside their building either.
Maybe they thought that people wouldn't make such a fuss about it if they did it during the eclipse, because the eclipse
have they ever been on Reddit?
Overshadow.
Anytime they make a tweet or an X, whatever it is now, people get concerned about it.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people observed it. My kids' school, they all went outside and looked at the sky and said, "Oh, look, it got darker. Oh, it's back. Okay, back to school, everybody." Like, okay.
One funny thing that I've definitely seen from it is a bunch of memes on Instagram that are like Sagar and Jetty from Breaking Points put out or just a report that was like the number of times that Google has received the phrase "Why do my eyes hurt?" or "eyes hurt" has jumped up in the States, corresponding with the direct path of the eclipse.
That's hilarious.
So there are a lot of people just bare-eyeing it.
Of course.
I find it funny that a solar eclipse, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, does not impress Tim like whatsoever. Like,
I mean,
they're so rare.
To be fair,
It's because I'm ignorant.
He's like, the moon's going in front of the sun.
I have a job. I don't have time for that.
My tummy aches.
Yeah, my tummy hurts.
I have 95 theses.
I was outside for it, well, partly anyway. And
of course you were.
Well, I was here, so at the gym studio. It was rainy as shit Monday. I didn't see shit. It got dark for a little while. Obviously,
it was cloudy.
It was cloudy as hell.
Yeah. The clouds help to like look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was busy training with Liz Carmouche.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good reason.
Pretty good plug right there. She's a beast. PFL won her first match in that tournament. She's got another one coming up. She just left for fight camp. I think she beat...
she's only home for 3 days.
She's home for like 3 days.
Another camp.
Damn.
She beat Velasquez. She was home for 3 days, and she came in and trained 2 of them.
Yeah.
You know, like she's just...
Yeah.
She's impressive, dude.
Just out there getting it.
She does not get enough credit for how good she is. She is on a run right now, dude. She's on a serious run. Like, it's been a while since anyone's come close to beating her.
And she's a double threat. She's a cool person, too.
Yeah, she's super cool.
She fights in
PFL. Yeah. Well, it was Bellator. She was the Bellator women's flyweight champion. And then when PFL bought them or they merged, I don't know exactly what the details were behind that deal.
I don't remember that either.
They basically started kind of like a new tournament style thing, Grand Prix, I think, more or less. Yeah, so she's got another fight coming up. And then after that, I think there's another one after that. But, you know, I asked her, like, hey, how do you feel about, like, the production of the PFL behind the scenes? How were you treated? And she says it's great. She's like, they're really great. It was on par with, you know, the top organizations, and she had a nice time. So that's cool. Yeah, she's a great fighter, dude. She's great. It's super fun when she comes in and trains, too, because she's so good.
Man, I still haven't had the pleasure of rolling with her, which is a shame.
She's so good.
She's very good.
So she's women's flyweight champ. I probably have, I don't know, 500 pounds on her.
Yeah.
And she suplexed me. I mean, she's a professional fighter, but, you know.
Yeah.
I mean,
like it was nothing.
I couldn't suplex you if I wanted to. You know, like,
right.
That says a ton.
I'm a blue belt now. I'm pretty good.
I could perfect plex you, the Mr. Perfect one, where he puts you in a cradle, a standing cradle, and then suplexes you with the cradle.
If you ever dream of doing that,
dude,
you better wake up and apologize.
I will do that to you, and then you'll write me a thank you letter after I do it. You'll be like, thank you for that experience. I learned a lot about myself when you suplexed me.
And put me in a coma.
Put me in front of all the students when you put me in check and you lined me up like that properly. You'd be like, thank you for that, sir.
That definitely sounds like an outtake of something I would say, for sure.
So
the only difference is I would just start it with "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, right, exactly. Dear Professor.
By the way, PFL did buy Bellator in 2023.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
look at that.
So we're stoked that she was in. So big day today, right? There's a few big days when things have happened in the world where we lose certain people, where everyone talks about it.
Yeah.
The eclipse foretold of its coming.
The first time I remember that, where I was like, damn, this dude died, when Johnny Carson died. I was like, wow, Carson's dead.
Yeah.
Fuck, you're old.
I know, dude. Well, Carson's a legend, man.
Yeah.
He was a legend. I'm like, oh man, Carson's dead. When Michael Jackson died, it's like, whoa, Michael Jackson.
Man, all those kids are safe now.
I know, right? I was like, dang, but he could dance and sing.
For me, it was Steve Irwin.
Yeah.
Steve Irwin.
Yeah. Grew up with that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watching that.
I didn't know you lived in Australia.
I didn't. So I grew up watching that guy. Go fuck yourself.
Wow. I played Aussie League football as well.
So who died?
Who died, Elder God? O.J. Simpson has gone on to see Elder God.
Gone on to have a talk with his missus about who killed her.
Well, you know, he died trying to find the killer.
He did.
He did.
I saw a great meme today out of all the funny ones about OJ that said it was a tweet from him that said, I did it. And then it said, this tweet has been deleted.
You know what? Go ahead. I didn't mean to
So no, it's crazy that like OJ's gone, man. Like
it's really wild.
It's just been like a thing. Like in my life, he's just been around. Like
you always hear something about him.
Let me ask you guys this: in your life, has he always been a villain?
Yeah.
So you don't remember the time when he was the hero. O.J. Simpson was. I found that out later. He was so famous and popular. Yeah. He was beloved. He was like, I wouldn't say Michael Jordan, but he was very high up on the list. He was like a Shaquille O'Neal out
LeBron
there.
Or Kobe level kind of guy.
Everybody loved him. He was in TV and commercials. He was doing all kinds of shit. He won the Heisman Trophy. He was an accomplished football running back. OJ was the man, dude. Yeah. OJ was the fucking man, dude. So when it came out that like this guy killed his wife, it was kind of freaking crazy.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
It just shattered that image that everybody had of him.
Yeah, and the trial was so sensational.
Right.
And I think it was the start or right around the start of court TV. So, you know, there was constant talking. The media was all up in the trial. The Judge Ito, loved the limelight. The prosecutor, everyone was all up in it.
Is that Johnny Cochran?
Johnny Cochran was one of the lawyers. Yeah. He had
the Kardashians.
He had Robert Kardashian, Johnny Cochran. Who was the other cat that he had? He had
wasn't that lady?
Robert Shapiro. He had the big. He had like the best lawyers of the time.
Like celebrity lawyers.
The best. Yeah, the best that you could find.
Besides, what's her name? Allred or whatever.
Gloria Allred.
Allred. Yeah.
What year was it, his trial?
I want to say the trial maybe was 95 or 96. I would have to look that up.
I kind of remember that. That's like my earliest kind of memory of OJ, you know?
Yeah.
October 3rd, 95.
95, yeah. I was 6.
I was 3.
Yeah. So, you know,
2, excuse me.
The whole thing was wild.
Yeah.
And it was sensational. And you kind of didn't want to believe he did it.
Yeah.
And the way it was portrayed in the media, most people were on OJ's side. Like, he didn't do it.
Right.
We don't think he did it, and we're not sure. And there was kind of a sense of people were like kind of happy when he was found not guilty. Mm-hmm. Like there was some open celebration going on. Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, on the news, like, people were cheering. It was kind of wild. It was like an event. Everyone was listening. I listened to it on the radio at work. We're listening. Like they read the verdict.
This was like before they had TVs, right?
No, there were TVs, motherfucker. But this was before you had a fucking phone in your pocket that streamed live television in HD. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You couldn't have a TV at work. That was for sure. Nobody had.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Nobody had cable television at work.
Yeah.
That was insanity, right? Nobody was rocking that shit. But we had radios.
Sure.
Right? So we listened to that shit on the radio, dude. It was a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, and there was a little fear that if he was found guilty, there might be some racial tension.
Right.
Right? Because that was kind of like alluded to during the trial. The Rodney King situation was like in 93 or 92. Just happened. L.A. Basically burnt. If you look at how big the L.A. riots were, there were like 2,000 fires set. It's a crazy number, man. It's a crazy number.
Yeah, I do know about the L.A. riots.
Right? It's like wild.
Yeah.
So they didn't want that. Again, they're like, dude, we can't have that no matter what. But it was a very interesting time. Then later, people are kind of like, we think he might have did it.
Yeah.
It would take a world-class athlete to kill these two people and run over there. And they're like, if anyone can do it, who could do it? O.J. Simpson could do it.
Tell me some random hobo or something like that came by and killed this woman with enough passion to almost decapitate her.
I know. You know,
and that's a lot of stab wounds.
Now, you know,
that's a specialty of mine.
The LAPD fucked it up royally. So what happened is
notoriously corrupt organization, by the way. So.
In the trial was more an indictment of LAPD than it was of did OJ do this or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Because they fucked up the crime scene. There's video of them like stepping on evidence with their feet and just grabbing shit, moving shit. They royally buffooned it, so nobody was on their side.
Damn.
They hated LAPD from a few years earlier. They were the villains, dude. I remember Mark Furman was like, I can't remember what his role was, but he was like a villainous dude everyone hated and talked shit against. And it was really sad because Daniel Perlman, dude, the boyfriend, her boyfriend that was also murdered, her dad, I think it was Daniel. I think her dad, or maybe it was Ron. I think Ron was the dad's name. Mm-hmm. His dad was like adamant, like OJ did this. We know he did this, and they sued him in civil court, and I think he lost, which is kind of crazy. You know?
Yeah, he did lose. Yeah,
and he said he's still trying to find the killer. He said he was afraid because the killer's still out there. Yes.
Yeah, I saw a meme for that too. It was like, he's actually in your car every time you drive.
It's like, how does that go down?
Well, then he puts the book out.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, but if I did it, this is how I would have done it.
The balls that you gotta have. Like,
this is how I would have did it.
This is how. God,
I wouldn't have even killed that bitch that way. I would have did it totally different.
Yeah.
Wild.
You are fooling no one.
So he got away, but it's like, did he get away? You know what I mean? Like,
he was ostracized from society. Like,
much of it, yeah.
He made me take another look at white Broncos. I didn't really care for Broncos.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they're one of your favorites.
They're not a favorite because I'm not a huge car guy, but like I like a white Bronco.
Yeah.
They're pretty cool looking.
Yeah.
Especially that year.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Get
Not a
chased
bad-
down the highway.
Yeah, man.
They're like 6 miles to the gallon, but they're cool looking.
What a classic scene. It's a low-speed chase, a Bronco
Dude,
with like 70 police
I still
behind it.
kind of remember that on the TV. Like,
Do you guys, people were rushing to the freeway overpasses and cheering for OJ, like, run, OJ, run. Everyone loved OJ Simpson, dude.
Yeah.
He was like, he's a running back. He's running from the cops now.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to score a touchdown. It's like,
Yeah.
where the fuck was he going to go? Mexico?
Yeah.
Like, get across the border and like hang out there for the rest of
Chasing
the
the killer.
Crazy. Yeah, right. Wild stuff. So he's gone. I'm sure he will not be forgotten for a very long time.
Probably not resting in peace either, to be honest.
Yeah, who knows about that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, so we lost him. Let's just say a little moment of silence for
Negative.
No, okay. We'll just move forward then. Dude, UFC 300s this weekend, man.
hey,
Huge.
Yeah,
Huge.
big time.
So my stepbrother is going to be in Vegas this weekend for a friend's bachelor party, and they are trying to get tickets to go see it.
I would imagine it's sold out, but sometimes they will release tickets at the box office the day of.
So he
Really?
said that they
Yes.
were looking at the time that they were looking. This is 2 days ago. At the time they were looking, they still had some seats available, and they were astronomical.
Of course.
He didn't give me a figure, but he said
Yeah.
they weren't cheap.
Yeah, my experience is the day of the event, if you go to the actual arena box office, wherever they're doing the event at, right? Sometimes they'll have like a limited supply of tickets available that they
Wow.
release at the last minute.
wow.
So it might work, might not. Who knows? It's like really hard to get those hot tickets now, though. You know, you got to know Uncle Dana or something.
Yeah.
So UFC 300 fight card, man. Let's go through here
Yeah, let's see this.
and give our picks. We'll see, dude. Let's start at the bottom of the card, which is Bo Nickel.
Prelims or main card?
No, let's do main card. Yeah.
Bo Nickel and Cody Brundage.
Yeah. I mean, dude, Cody Brundage is a decent fighter. You know, what's his record?
Man, look at those odds.
What is his record? He is
He
Cody
is
is fight history
10-5-0.
10-5-0. So, you know,
6 of those 10 are first round finishes by knockout.
so he's a puncher.
Mm-hmm.
He already lost a submission to Vieira, which, you know, Rodolfo's a classic jiu-jitsu guy. He subbed him in the second round. How else? He lost anonymous decision. This fight is probably not going to go out of the first round. Like,
Between him and Bo, probably not.
yeah, I doubt it. I think Bo Nickel finishes him in the first round. He's just too much, dude.
You calling for Bo?
Yeah, 100%. What do you guys think? It's got to be Bo Nickel.
I have a
a
feeling
pretty-
for the underdog on
It's
this
a
one.
pretty big spread.
Yeah, huge spread.
21-11.
Yeah, you going to go with that feeling? That feeling might just be a burrito in your stomach.
Taco salad.
I'm gonna go with Bo, unless Bo. I don't know if Bo will get knocked out, but I'll say Bo if it's anything like. I think he's the American Patty, as far as even if he loses, they're not going to let him lose, kind of deal. So I see him as one of the next up and coming guys. Like that's really going to be like a moneymaker for the UFC. So I don't think they'll let him lose.
Yeah, I
Nothing against him. I just think that's the position he's in.
I don't think that they even have to worry about that. I think he's that good.
Okay.
Yeah. He's going to murk him.
Chucky Olives and Armin Sarukin.
Man, you know, Sarukin's good. I think his last fight, he beat Dariush. I think his only loss recently was to Gamrat. He's tough. Oliveira is like one of these dudes who it depends on which Oliveira shows up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I was going to say that. Like, sometimes he's on, and it's like, wow, this guy could take the belt again, you know? And then other times you're like, who is this guy?
Man, but dude, just his record in his last handful of fights, he's only lost to Makachev.
Yeah.
He beat Dariush, he beat Gaethje, he beat Poirier, he beat Chandler, he beat Ferguson, he beat Lee. It's like, Jesus, man. Beat Nick Lentz. Like, I don't know. Damn. Yeah.
I think Oliveira takes it.
Sarukin.
You going Sarukin?
Yeah, why not?
I'm going to go Oliveira on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm going with Charles O.
Gaethje and Holloway. That'll be a good fight regardless.
Sorry, do you know how old Charles Oliveira is?
Chucky's like 90.
Yeah.
He is. How old is he?
I'm looking right now. I don't know if it says. I'm sure it will at some point.
Like they hide his age.
Yeah.
Why don't they show his age, man?
Not sure.
The UFC straight up hiding this dude's age. They don't even know. Oh, Fighter Facts. Here we go. Don't even say it on Fighter Facts. 34.
Wow.
What is that, old to you?
No, he's way younger than I thought he was. I thought he was probably like maybe 36, 37.
34 is still good.
Yeah.
You're not out of your prime till 36, 37 anyway.
Holloway.
From what I hear. I don't know that, but.
Holloway's only 32 years old. Jesus.
Gaethje.
Man, I'm going to go with Max Holloway on this one.
Really?
I'd say Holloway if it stays striking.
Yeah, I think that...
Unless Gaethje throws like a random bomb that he's able to. He kind of gets in and hits that one. He's good.
Yeah. What do you think?
Holloway's a great boxer.
Yeah, probably Holloway. I don't know, Gaethje. Yeah, Holloway.
He's like, I like his name better.
They're pretty even to me.
How are they both ranked number 2? Is that normal?
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Gaethje's lightweight division. Holloway is lightweight. I don't know, dude. This is the UFC. They just do what they want.
Shang Wei Li and Yan Xiaonan.
I know a Chinese person's going to win it.
Correct.
Yeah.
I take that bet.
I'm not going against...
no odds, oddly enough.
Wei Li.
Against Wei Li?
I am not going to vote against her.
Not going to vote against her. Okay.
No.
Odd way to say that.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Canada. That's why I say against. Yeah, I'm going with, even though I know that's not what you meant. I'm going to go with Zhang Weili.
Zhang Weili.
Yeah, me too.
Xiaonan.
You're just picking opposite of what I picked.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like this version of you.
I don't like you.
You need to listen to Tony Robbins more.
Yeah.
Okay, next.
Headline is Alex Pereira and Jamal Hill.
Jamal Hill is 12-1.
I think you said Jamal Hill's 12 years old.
He beat Glover Teixeira. He hasn't fought since January of 23. I think he got injured.
I think he did.
He beat Santos, and he beat Johnny Walker. I don't think he's gonna beat Alex Pereira. I don't see it happening. I think Jamal Hill's tough as hell. Don't get me wrong, but I think Pereira's gonna beat him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pereira.
Yeah, same. To tell you the truth, I mean, I don't mean to say anything too negative, but I don't know how these odds.
I'm not the kind of person that talks negative.
I don't know how these odds are so close.
Yeah. Well, didn't Jamal Hill relinquish the belt, if I remember correctly? So he is actually number 1, sort of, and then Pereira's gotten it in the interim.
Yeah, something like that.
I know. Pereira's like, man, he's such a good fighter.
He's really good.
He's all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's that great.
No?
No, I do. I think he's really good. He's fucking,
I was like, okay, I want to hear this.
he's amazing, dude. He's a great fighter. He
say let him leg kick you.
Yeah, he's so big for the division too. He's giant, dude.
Long, yeah.
He's getting better. His grappling's going to improve. I mean,
he's a real threat.
Yeah, he's a big dude, man.
So
yeah. So, I mean, overall, UFC 300, I don't want to be one of these people that's like, I expected something bigger. I think it's a pretty good card. Like, yeah, well, damn, you know.
I think it's worth looking at the prelims, too, because those are also pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
Yuri Prohaska and Rakic.
Yeah, these are actually really good.
Yeah.
Calvin Cotter and Aljamain. These are prelims.
Damn. The pre-prelims have
Sadiq Diablo
Figueiredo and Garbrandt, Bobby Green, Jim Miller,
Jessica Andrade, Bobby Green, Jim Miller. Yeah. I saw Holly Holm too. Holly Holm and Kayla Harrison.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's crazy.
Oh man, Kayla Harrison's fighting. Wow.
No odds on that one either. It's weird.
Yeah, very interesting.
I've never seen Sadiq Youssef fight, but I've seen Diego Lopez.
Yeah, he's a good fighter. He's fun to watch.
Yeah, it should be cool tomorrow night.
tomorrow night, huh? No,
Saturday. I'm thinking it's Friday. We're not podding on Friday.
Kayla Harrison is 16-1.
Whoa.
She was, I think, in the PFL or World Series of Fighting or one of those other organizations. Yeah, she's no joke, dude. I believe Kayla's the judoka, right?
If I remember correctly, I'm not going to pretend I know, but I think I've heard that with judo.
Yeah. She's got 9 first-round finishes. She has wins over UFC veterans Aspen Ladd, Caitlin Young, Cindy Dandoy, and Larissa Pacheco. Youngest person in U.S. history to be awarded the rank of Rokudan 6-degree black belt.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really interesting fight.
It's probably just going to be a great program in general. They're probably going to have a bunch of like inductions to the Hall of Fame. They're probably going to have like a whole bunch of extra like videos and stuff between the fights.
Who do you think is going to get inducted to the Hall of Fame?
Is Chuck Liddell in there yet?
Let's see who's in the UFC Hall of Fame. If you could put anyone into the UFC Hall of Fame, like who would you?
Fedor, even though he never fought for UFC.
Okay, well.
I love Fedor. I'd say Arlovsky.
Let's see who's in there right now.
You can't put Arlovsky. He's still fighting.
Dude, the UFC puts people in there all the time.
I know.
Okay, so there's the modern wing, the pioneer wing. These are the Chuck Liddell's is in there.
Okay.
The contributor wing. These are people that have helped.
Khabib, Rashad.
The fight wing.
Bisping, Rousey.
They have Hall of Fame fights. That's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Cormier.
Who's going into the I'm not. So Rashad Evans is a UFC Hall of Famer, huh?
Yes, sir. BJ Penn's in there too. Forrest Griffin. I'd say my real answer, besides Arlovsky, even though he's still fighting, I would say. Why am I blanking on his name? He's one of my favorite fighters. Damn it,
dude! Why are you being
Frank Mir?
Yeah, I the motorcycle wreck hurt him. Would be really. I think you could make a case for Frank Mir.
I think you could.
What about
Jan Severn, Kim Shamrock, Hoist Gracie, Mark Coleman?
Listen, man, I'm just going to say this. I really like Forrest Griffin, and I know that he was a champion, but it's like, how do you put Forrest Griffin in there and you don't put Stephan Bonner in there? That fight was the fight that sold the UFC to America. It was their fight. That was the fucking fight. That fight could not have been scripted any better. It was perfect.
Yeah.
And that was the capstone for the UFC, Ultimate Fighter Season 1, which is insane to think that it was a reality show that really propelled the UFC into America. Which is wild. A professional sport starts off in this country as a reality show, more or less. Like, that gives it its big kick.
Probably the only one.
Probably, yeah. Well, the other sports are like 200 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? But isn't that interesting that it kind of worked out that way?
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't even think, even with the internet, I can't think of any other sport that's being, like, propelled like that,
Yeah. Kemoy just texted me.
I think Joe Rogan should be in there too in the contributor wing.
He's not. Rogan, bro, Jogan. Yeah, he'll probably end up in there though eventually.
Gotta be.
Yeah, man, my shorts are red.
Sure, John Jones will be in there. I'd like to see Tim Kennedy in there too.
I thought you were gonna say Tim Freeman. Yeah, I kind of am a big deal.
Yeah,
in the UFC world. I watched a lot of pay-per-views.
No.
Okay, so let me see. If I had to pick anybody for the modern wing right now, who would that be? A UFC fighter. Man, that's a tough one.
Arlovsky or Tim Kennedy.
I don't see how you're picking Tim Kennedy. That's just pure bias.
He's a savage.
Andre Arlovsky, I could definitely see a case for him.
Also a savage.
Yeah.
Frank Mir, savage.
Frank Mir. What about you?
As far as I know, he's the only person that's Kimura fractured 2 people in the UFC.
You think like Anderson Silva? Would he be a name?
I think he's already in.
Is he?
I think he's already in the Hall of Fame. Let's see, in the modern wing.
I don't think so.
No,
He's not.
He's not. Maybe he's in the Pioneer wing.
Yes, he is.
Oh.
Pioneer wing.
Yeah.
With Vanderlei, Rich Franklin, Matt Serra,
Murray Smith.
Kevin Randleman.
Okay.
Sakuraba.
Let's just get real, dude. This list right here is not accurate without Frank Shamrock. There's no fucking way.
Frankie Shams is in there.
No, Frankie Shams is
Ken
not.
Shamrock.
Frankie Shams.
No, he's not, man.
Ken Shamrock.
Oh, I just saw Shamrock. Excuse me.
Listen, Frank was the first hybrid fighter. He was the first version of GSP. Before there was GSP, there was Frank Shamrock. He could knock you out. He could out-wrestle you. He could submit you. He could do all of it. He was the first guy that was like, holy fuck, this dude can do it all. Like, goddamn. Tito was kind of like that because he could wrestle, but Tito wasn't exactly known for his subs. You know, Frank could armbar your ass from guard or do some wild shit, right?
Right.
He was a huge deal. And then he went away for a while and he came back and he still came back on top. When he showed up at Strikeforce and beat Kung Lee and had those matches, he was fucking rad. Strikeforce did some cool shit. They brought Kung Lee in, dude, who was like a martial artist from the outside world, got in the cage, and Kung Lee had a good run in Strikeforce. Like, he was a tough fighter. Yeah, dude. He had some epic matches there. And, I just don't think you can do this without putting Frank Shamrock in there.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
So that's your pick, Frank?
You got to put Frank in, dude.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say Frank's definitely a gigantic hole here, and it's probably because Dana doesn't like him.
Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. It's true.
They've got bad blood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like that Taylor Swift song.
Yeah, they got bad blood because you know, I don't, you know, let me see what is the reason. I think it was over a lawsuit and some shit that Frank said about the UFC, and Dana, you know, probably took a hard line against it. Yeah, let me see. They've been battling for years. He moved to San Jose. You know what happened was he started getting involved in Strikeforce. And Dana was not a big fan of it. At all. No, he was highly irritated, so that didn't work out.
He didn't want his fighters like mingling with other.
No, not at all, dude. Not at all. We're going to get Isaac and Kemoy on, and we're going to bang them in at the same time.
All right.
I told Kemoy he could jump in as soon as he can. Then we'll just bang him in here. Do that. I know these Thursday night shows, like, I don't want to start them so late. Like, start them at 10 o'clock, you know? Yeah. So, but it's just, like, tricky to get these dudes in here on time. I've noticed they're all kind of...
Well, they're all West Coast guys.
Most of them, and I think Kemoy's Central, but they're all training. All these dudes are training.
Oh, that's right.
Constantly. Yeah. So, and they're not like, oh, I'm going to be on Inside BJJ. I'm going to take the night off.
Right.
I'm not. Yeah, it's not going to happen. So it's like, okay, you just got to kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that big of a deal.
It's all right.
It's whatever. It's all right. It's whatever.
It's whatever.
Yeah, you know how it goes. So anyway, when those guys call in, we'll jump to them, dude. PG.
Talk about these PGF coach changes?
Yeah, dude. PGF season 6. Eddie Bravo out.
The drama continues.
What's that?
Had to step down.
He stepped down.
Or not had to. He chose to. So I've got let's see.
Do you think that was a good move?
Well, yes and no.
Did you read the post?
Yeah. More or less.
Yeah.
You could read it.
So PGF posted, we have a major update for you. Eddie Bravo, with the utmost integrity, has chosen to step down as coach. With so much on the line, he doesn't feel comfortable coaching against his own 10P black belts, which there's a lot of them in 6. We respect his decision and are excited to announce he'll still be at PGF World, shifting his role to ref.
Yeah. That's cool. His name's still attached to it. He's still part of it.
Yeah. And in his place, they're getting one of his instructors, Jean-Jacques Machado.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Machado's awesome. So Jean-Jacques and Hegan are coaches this season.
Yeah, I know. I wonder if they'll be like competitive or if they'll be like, we're the killer bees, and they like, you can't tell which one's which. They're switching teams and helping each other.
That'd be funny.
The other coach is Dean Lister, who is replacing Andre Galval,
who's coming off a knee surgery.
So Lister's a savage, dude.
I love Dean Lister.
Dean Lister is the kind of guy that lives in the gym. You know what I mean? Like, for real. Figuratively and literally. Yeah, he's a savage, dude.
He's also one of the first guys, as I understand it, historically, it's like, yeah, fuck you, I'm doing leg locks.
Yeah, he has a win over Jean-Jacques in a ADCC super fight in 2005.
Really?
Yeah, they fought each other. Dean has won ADCC. I think he won in 2003, and I think he won in 2011, I want to say. And I think Jean-Jacques won in 99. He won. So they're both ADCC champs. Like, they're pretty dope. They had a pretty good... I think Dean beat him on points in 2005.
Dang.
Dean's also a Pride and UFC veteran, too.
Yeah, he fought in Pride, fought in the UFC. It's tough, dude, man.
Man.
Like, just watch him take breaks. Like, kid just let his arm break. Yeah, it's just your elbow capsule. It'll heal. Common misconception that you need to tap. Like, okay, Dean.
He's a monster, dude.
Yeah. That's because you're not built like the rest of us.
Yeah.
He's still out there teaching and rolling at Victory MMA in San Diego with Jocko.
He literally sees red. Like, I believe it.
He sees red, we're all dead.
I think that a guy like Dean and also a dude like Jean-Jacques could be really helpful to a PGF team, because they're going to have, during the day, they're going to actually have training sessions with the coaches. So, you know, it's not like, hey, I'm going to come in and radically alter your game, but strategic, you know, in terms of like coming up with different tactics and strategies, they might be able to help that way. And they might be able to give these guys like, hey, this dude you had trouble with yesterday, you should be trying like this.
Yeah.
Or you know, like you might fight this guy today. You should try to beat him this way, or you should try. You know, I think they could be helpful in those terms, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how the athletes take to the coaches, because that's one element of the PGF that you want. You want to have these like high level legend coaches come in and be part of it. That's awesome. Their name is attached to it. They're participating in the event, but you have to ask yourself, how much communication and openness will there be between an athlete and one of these coaches who maybe this is the first time they've ever met them, you know, and now you're on Hodger's team, and are you really going to go to Hodger and be like, hey man, I have a question about my Kimuras? Like, maybe you will, you might do that, but you also might not. You might be like, hey dude, just let me do my thing. There might be a lot of that as well. So it's like, how do you do that?
I mean, that's part of the drama, right? Like,
I guess so. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty, I mean, I don't know. I would think that I personally would do what you said. The first one would be, is like, try to learn from this coach and like listen to him. But I mean, I don't know. That's what I've always done. I'm a blue belt. Like, what can I say? Like, if I was like a competition black belt, like out there trying to get it for $20K, like,
yeah,
you know, I'm putting $20K in your hands of this coach that like has never trained me before, has seen me roll like a few days.
Yeah,
you know.
In my experience with like guys in jiu-jitsu that are really good, they're kind of like, fuck everybody else, I'm better than everybody else. Yeah. That's kind of the attitude you have to have. You can't go into any of these events giving somebody too much respect.
Right.
You know, you got to kind of go in this like, hey, your shit sucks, I'm better than you. But at the same time, like, these guys are legends for a reason.
Right.
They're really freaking good, you know. So it'll just be interesting to see. I'd like to see that dynamic, and I'd like to see if maybe one of these coaches really has a strong influence over the outcome because they picked their teams right. You know, because we had our mock draft and we all had money left over, and if you're going into Vegas on the 21st to do the draft, and you're one of these 4 coaches, and you haven't practiced and done a mock, there's a high chance at the end you're going to get guys that you weren't thinking about getting, and you have $2,000 left over that you didn't spend. It's like, you can't do that. You have to spend the money up front and get after the names that you're trying to get. So it'll be interesting to see. I actually like that part of it. I think that's cool. I think as the PGF develops, the auction will become much more strategic.
Yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. And I think, like you said, as the seasons go by, you're going to start seeing maybe like, hey, you know, I don't know, trade something for like a first round pick or something, you know, like, I don't know.
So yesterday on the grappling hour, on the bullpen with Raf and Jake Watson, one of the things that came up was that you can do trades.
Oh, really?
Yes. And actually there was a trade last year that happened in season 5. So the question is when is the trade deadline?
Ooh.
Like, what if my team's out of it? And on Friday, I trade you my best guy for your worst guy. And I just bolstered your team for you because I'm your homie and whatever. You know, I wonder if the commissioner can veto the trade. Like, there's a lot of things that come into play that are actually in other sports for a reason. So shit like this doesn't happen, right? But, you know, you kind of like, hey, we'll just do trades. And it's like, that's so cool until somebody games you. There's money on the line.
Yeah, it's
There's enough money on the line that people are going to get pissed and call bullshit and like want to run it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
or they see that one guy does it and now they want to do it too, you know?
Right.
So,
absolutely. So,
I'm not trading. My team's going to win.
Yeah, you think so?
I know so.
Okay, Kemoy is he's ready. Okay, call us. Okay. Call us on that link. Yeah, he'll call us in a second.
Shortly, yeah. I was looking for him to jump in. There are too many dumb fucking haircuts these days. I'm happy none of the guys at PGF had these haircuts. Like I see all the memes for the broccoli haircut guys that typically younger guys that
the broccoli cut.
Go to the gym. You were talking about one earlier at the Edgar.
The Edgar.
Yeah.
The broccoli haircut?
Broccoli is the picture I showed you, like the super tight curly on top and like a tight fade sides and back.
Yeah.
That's a popular one.
Usually attached to some string bean who's using the 5-pound weights at the gym.
You know what? To be honest, though, man, I wouldn't mind having a bad haircut. You know, it's like, at least you got the hair to fuck with, you know.
Shaved head, with whether you have hair or not, shaved head's way better than the fucking broccoli cut.
Is it? What if your head is like fucked up looking?
It comes with the personality they're buying too.
If they have like slots in the back for the credit cards.
You can't stop that from happening. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to have to take what life gives you and you're going to have to make the best out of it, you know? Pretty much, man. Yeah, I'm interested in seeing how season 6 breaks down, dude. I really am. It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
It's going to be great.
They're going to stream They're going to stream the main part, the basic part. They're going to stream on UFC Fight Pass's YouTube channel.
Okay.
And then on Friday, that'll actually be on Fight Pass. So that'll be pretty cool to see. So
we just got Kemoy jump in.
Hey, we got Kemoy rated R. I love that. That's probably my favorite nickname out of all the jiu-jitsu guys. Rated R. It's like, man, that's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Let's jump him on, man. Hey, Kemoy, what's going? Oh shit, you go ahead. Hey, man, what's going on? How you doing?
What up?
What's up, dude?
Hey, dude, how did you get the rated R nickname? It's brilliant. It's not a kids class nickname, but it's a good one.
Here's the backstory. So I grew up watching pro wrestling, right? There was a wrestler named Edge, the rated R superstar, right?
Yeah.
So I was a big fan. When I was a kid, I was a big fan. I'm like, damn, this guy's cool. He's doing a lot of cool stuff. He's just being rated R every week. So I took on that name.
That's sweet.
Dude, speaking, go ahead.
I was going to say that reminds me of a friend of mine who grew up with pro wrestling, and all of his passwords have mankind involved with it.
Yeah, I think I remember Edge. I remember Val Venus. He was the other like rated R superstar, right? You remember those dudes?
Yeah, I remember Val Venus. Nuts.
Yeah, I like that. I like that angle. Did you watch WrestleMania this weekend?
I've seen some clips. I didn't really invest in watching the whole show, but I've seen some clips.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a 2-day show now.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
it's real extra.
It's a big money for them, you know, because now they got people, you either getting paid for one day or just pay a lot of money for the package and get both.
Yeah. And if you think it's kind of crazy that professional wrestling, for as much shit as people talk about it, it's still wildly popular. It's like the Super Bowl. It's a giant event. There's tons of money. It's a huge entertainment property. We just saw Netflix pay like $1 billion for the streaming rights, which is that's insane, man.
Yeah, because it got deep history, and then anything that kids is investing in, it could be like a family thing, it's gonna make a lot of money.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I agree with you on that.
Speaking of family, I'm just a huge fan of Vince McMahon.
Yeah, you're a big Vince McMahon guy.
Way bigger than I was.
Yeah, right.
I'm a huge fan now.
Vince McMahon is dope, man.
He's awesome.
He really, I feel like without him, WWE wouldn't be what it is.
Oh no, for sure not.
Yeah, there's no way. I mean, he's like the first guy that kind of brought wrestling on the national level and took it out of the regional game.
He was such a great heel, right? He was like the asshole boss, right? Like everybody hated him. Like you could take off all your frustrations from your boss at work onto Vince McMahon, you know? That classic meme of him like smelling money and you know.
So, man, PGF season 6 is right around the corner, and obviously there's a lot of big names on the card. There's a lot of, you know, eyeballs on the event. It's moved to Vegas. There's a bunch of, you know, production that's being put behind it. Probably the biggest season, right, that they've ever done. It's a really big prize. You yourself were in season 5. You know, what's your
season? I was in season 5 and I think season 2.
So 2 seasons.
And then I was a coach of season 4, I think. Whichever one was the 155, the lightweights. I was one of the coaches.
So with that experience coming into it, one of the questions that comes up a lot, especially with the rankings, is like how important is PGF experience in terms of like where you should be ranked? When you look at other experience, like maybe ADCC or IBJJF Worlds or EBI or Combat Jiu-Jitsu, how important is it to actually have PGF experience coming into the event?
I don't think it's that important because at the end of the day, you're still gonna grapple everybody. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. So the ranking gonna help you when it comes to money, maybe, because if you rank high, then the other management that haven't did their research, they just can go for your ranking. They can be like, this guy must be good if he's ranked this high. Let me pay X amount of money for this person. Because trust me, a lot of the coaches that's coming in, these guys are not on Instagram looking up these guys. They're not looking up 20 guys.
You don't think Hodger's doing his homework right now? He's like, Cam Hurd. How do you spell that last name? HERD? HURD?
It's all about do these coaches, are they watching jiu-jitsu like that on a regular? Because there's lots of people that compete and train. They don't watch jiu-jitsu like that. I ask guys all the time, hey, you see who's number 1? You saw trials? Nah, I see some clips though, but I didn't really watch it. You know what I'm saying? But if you're a guy like me that really pay attention to the sport and every athlete, then it's going to be easier making your team.
Who do you think going into PGF season 6 is the favorite? Like if you could name 3 guys, man, what would you say? It doesn't necessarily have to be in order, but who do you think are the favorites going into it?
It's going to be PJ Barch, Andy Varela, and it's going to be Elijah, mainly because his history speaks volume. You know what I'm saying? Elijah's a guy that could really put numbers on the board. So I see him being top 3, like highest draft pick.
Do you foresee any dark horses? Any guys maybe that are ranked in the bottom, say the bottom 10 that might be able to come in and shake it up?
Yeah, Ben Eddy. To us 10th Planet guys, we don't view him as a dark horse, but to somebody that might not be too familiar with Ben Eddy's work, he might be viewed as a dark horse. But I feel like Ben Eddy can put some numbers on the board also.
I feel like if Ben Eddy Hindulatines a couple people, he's going to get traded on some draft teams.
Yeah, you can trade guys, man. Isn't that wild?
You can't trade mid-season. You can't do that.
When is the deadline for the trade?
Asking that.
When is the
trade?
Deadline?
Is the same day as the draft.
Okay.
Yeah,
we had to get that qualified because we weren't sure, because if you could trade mid-season, you could really do some dirty shit then, basically. You can basically collude and stack a team, do all kinds of wild shit.
I think we should trade during the season.
Yeah, for a fantasy PGF, we can do fantasy trades. So there you go. What do you think about the coaching change-up? Obviously, everyone loves Eddie. It'd be great to see Eddie coach. But he steps out. He's being replaced by a legend in Jean-Jacques. And Dean Lister's also a guy that, you know, ADCC winner himself. Him and Jean-Jacques had an epic match in 2005 for the ADCC super fight. Both these guys are stepping in as coaches.
Honestly, man, I'm just going to speak from my opinion. It was disappointing for me because everybody liked being around Eddie. Everybody want to get to know Andre Galvao, you know what I'm saying? Because Andre Galvao, he's still kind of part of our generation, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like Dean Lister and Jean-Jacques, they from a different generation. I wasn't even watching jiu-jitsu when those guys was competing. To be honest, I wasn't watching jiu-jitsu. So I couldn't get excited. I couldn't be like, woo! Awesome. I was disappointed. Andre Galvao, I want to meet Andre. I want to pick his brain and see his coaching style, see the kind of stuff that he got to say, see his thoughts on matches.
As someone, you know, you said you coached in the PGF. How important of a role does the coach play beyond drafting the team? Like, is he correct? Are you correcting guys like, hey, get your hip up when you armbar, man? Oh, don't do omoplata that way. Like, are you really doing that?
Let's be honest now. Who's gonna tell a PJ Barge how to grapple? He's not listening.
Right.
I noticed you put your head out a little when you shoot your double leg. I think you're gonna say that shit to him. Like,
you think Andy Varela gonna change his style because Lister said do your guillotine this way? So I feel like the coaches, they like public figures. You know what I'm saying? They like the management. They don't putting the team together. I think that's as far as it goes. Because at the end of the day, everybody got to still grapple on their own. Your coach ain't going to grapple for you. Dean Lister not going to grapple for you.
Yeah, maybe the role of a coach can come in on day 3 after they've seen you grapple a few rounds. They might be able to go like, hey, I noticed X about this guy. Like, he likes to do this, or maybe they could see something from their experience. They can watch and tell you.
And I'm sure those guys are always open to insights, which is the same insight a teammate could give you. You know what I'm saying? All those guys that's in that in the roster, they coaches of themselves. You know what I'm saying? They also coaches, so I'm sure they're gonna help out each other. Everybody gonna feed off of each other.
Yeah, I definitely think that is going to be an interesting dynamic to watch. I'm just wondering if it will be even more intense, given that there'll be much more attention on it in season 6. And what will happen if a coach tries to step in and go like, "Yo, Andy, you should do it different." It would be interesting just to kind of see the interplay that'll happen between the athletes.
All those guys, they respectable martial artists, right? So if an OG come to them and give them some advice, they're not gonna brush them off. They're gonna be like, okay, they're gonna do their own thing anyway.
Yeah, for sure. You're probably right about that. How important is it as an athlete coming into this to understand it as a promotion? It's just not like another tournament. It's just not a martial arts thing. This is a professional league that's launched, and we're trying to get eyeballs on it. We're trying to grow it, and people watching need a story. They need a personality. They need they need some drama to latch onto. How important is that as an athlete to understand that and participate in it?
I mean, it all depends on your goal in the sport. Some guys, they just like doing this for fun. They don't care about building their brand. They don't care about making money. They don't care about getting seminars. They don't care about their legacy. You know what I'm saying? But if you do care about those stuff, PGF is a perfect platform to catapult your brand. You know what I'm saying? So it's up to you to do what you got to do to stand out, to get noticed. It could be anything. Any little thing that happened that could possibly draw some views or get some eyes on it, it's going to go towards your brand. It's going to help.
Is a modern jiu-jitsu athlete like making a living doing jiu-jitsu? What is the hustle for you? Is it doing seminars, teaching classes, competing? Do you have other work you do? Like, I don't know very many guys in jiu-jitsu that are just competing and that's it. They usually have other things in the jiu-jitsu world they have to do to get by.
Okay, you asked about me personally?
Yeah. I'd like to ask the athletes that come on, like, how do they get by? Like, what kind of stuff are you doing? He's like, I'm rated R. I can't say that.
Yeah, I got some. Oh, I don't know if you guys know, I'm the owner of Main Character Jiu-Jitsu. So I have businesses and stuff out there. So, I try to do a little something here and there. Because like you said, Jiu-Jitsu not going to really get you that far. Not going to really pay the bills like that.
You think we're coming into a time where that could change, though? I mean, because my experience in jiu-jitsu has always been that it's like a little pie and everyone's stealing pizza from each other. And it finally seems like maybe there's some outside investment coming into the game where it's much more than just a little small pie. Like there's going to be more to go around. And that means you might actually see guys be able to compete and live off of their earnings and actually do it is a thing. Maybe they're not going to make, millions and millions of dollars every year, but it might be enough to successfully like have a house and take care of yourself.
Have a house. I don't know if jiu-jitsu can get you that far. I don't know who buying a house over. But then again, I don't know, man. I don't feel like jiu-jitsu, because if you really think about it, let's say jiu-jitsu get mainstream, right? Who's it gonna be mainstream for though? It's not gonna be for everybody. It's gonna be for the B teams, the new waves, the guys that's already popular. Those are the guys that's still gonna be getting opportunities, that's gonna be getting a check. You could be IBJJF world champion or whatever, and if you don't have the support behind you, you don't have the name, the coaches, the team, nobody's gonna care about you. Nobody's gonna give you that big match where you get a big purse. So no matter how much the sport get mainstream, you still have to do that extra work to get noticed.
Yeah, it's a great point. I mean, you think of like a huge grappler, like, I don't know, just Jean-Jacques Machado. Like, you ask anybody who Jean-Jacques is, they don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
sure.
That's a different generation. I told you that. I wasn't watching jiu-jitsu when Jean-Jacques was competing. I wasn't watching around that time.
But but I mean, even like the greats, like inside of jiu-jitsu, like the big dogs inside jiu-jitsu, people on the street don't know who they are.
They have no clue.
Yeah.
That's the typical person who Gordon Ryan or Craig Jones are. They don't know.
I don't know.
I actually have had one person in the outside world ask me about Gordon Ryan.
Oh, really?
Which I was kind of like, okay, he like has crossed over a little bit. He shows up a little bit in the outside world now.
I mean,
but
if that person asks you that question, that means that person have some kind of knowledge on jiu-jitsu and know what jiu-jitsu is, though, right?
Either that or Joe Rogan.
Yeah, he might have been on Joe Rogan. He asked me how old he was. I think he saw like the old man picture. I don't know what the fuck is up with Gordon Ryan, because like in one photo he looks like he's like 60, and then he cuts his hair and he looks like a young like 22-year-old in the next one. Man, he's all over the place. Dude.
Yeah, I don't like that whole dyeing your hair. Great, that was kind of, I didn't like that, man. I like what he's doing now.
I think he thought it was gonna come out looking different, and it just kind of came out like looking white. He had to look in the mirror a few times, and be like, "I fucked this one up."
We could have easily dyed it back.
It's already a blank canvas.
It's got to run with
him. That was a good idea.
He looked at himself. I'm Gordon fucking Ryan. It's my fucking hair. I'm Gordon fucking Ryan.
Or
I guess, man.
maybe there was a big idea behind it. Maybe it was like something to create engagement. How many people's commenting about what his hair looked like?
Sure. Yeah. And I mean, that's also the world we live in too, where half the shit you see is pro wrestling style. You know, it's not even for real. It's just to get eyeballs on it and get some traction on social media. But look, that's what you have to do. And the reason I asked you that question about promotion and athletes is I can't count the times in the jiu-jitsu world when somebody tried to put on a jiu-jitsu event, they get a bunch of athletes involved, and then the athletes don't want to talk about it. They don't want to big it up. They don't want to have everything's like, oh, I'm just going to show up and do my best. Like, no, dude, that's not what we're selling, man. Nobody gives a fuck about that. We want to hear you say you're going to come in and dunk on a motherfucker, even if you're not.
But at the end of the day, not everybody have that personality, though.
Yeah. But those are the ones that are going to eat.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. You know, that's, I guess that's the game. Let me ask you this. ADCC, how important is it to you to win ADCC? Is that a big deal for you as an athlete, or is it more important to make money? You know, obviously you want to be a winner. Nobody's in the game to lose. But is ADCC something that like all jiu-jitsu no-gi grapplers are trying to get to, or is it just a certain select group of guys that really are going after?
I think it's a certain select, and let me explain why. There's lots of great grapplers that just don't do ADCC trials. They don't do no kind of ADCC opens or nothing. Why? Because they just don't care like that. You know, they find satisfaction maybe doing IBJJF Worlds or just doing something else. Let's use Elijah Carlton, for example. He didn't do trials. He don't care that. He much rather do whatever that's gonna put immediate money in his pocket. So I feel like it's not fair. Not everybody have that major goal of going to ADCC Worlds and winning. Not everybody care that much about it.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's what I'm just curious. I think that ADCC is a prestigious thing, and there's a group of guys that really want to do it because they feel like that means they're the best in the world. But you know, that doesn't necessarily translate to dollars in your pocket, especially if you don't know how to hustle it. Yeah, then it's just a medal that you can't eat. You can't eat a medal. You can't pay your rent with a medal. You can't do anything like, you know, if you can convert it into seminars and money, you can do that for a while for sure. But you know, I think there's a professional marketplace that's developing right now for jiu-jitsu athletes. And it's just a question of who has the perception and the ability to participate in it. And if you can participate in it, there's going to be some level of monetary reward, you know, available to you. And if you can't, you can't, you know, and that's probably how all professional sports develop. There's a lot of guys that surfed, a lot of guys that skateboarded. There's a lot of guys that played a lot of different things that didn't stick with it, or they weren't able to make it when their particular field went professional. I just think we're like right on that wave with jiu-jitsu right now.
Even with ADCC, there's lots of guys that won ADCC Worlds or even medal, and nobody still don't give a fuck about them. You know what I'm saying? I never medal ADCC, but I could go in a venue of the jiu-jitsu community. More people might recognize me than somebody that took top 4 at ADCC Worlds.
Yeah, absolutely. You're totally right about that. You're right, man. I mean, but that's because you have the foresight to see it. Like, you get it, you understand it. You're one of the guys that gets it, and you know, that's just how the game goes now.
I think what is really going to break it through is some kind of visionary, like who can make this bridge between the common man on the outside on the street and then the jiu-jitsu world. And you made and you alluded to that earlier, Tim, when you were talking about skateboarding and like snowboarding and stuff like that. At one point, people didn't know anything. There was a point where people didn't know who Tony Hawk was, and he was like the greatest skateboarder at the time, you know. So like somebody made that bridge into, like, I think things like the modern season of PGF and like who knows, just whatever's coming down the pike makes that, like, bridges that gap. You
know what else helped? If we talk about Tony Hawk, because I grew up on Tony Hawk, I'm gonna tell you exactly what made the bridge. what made the bridge is advertisement, video games. That's how I knew Tony Hawk. Video game. I grew up playing those skateboarding games, and that back then, before we had the internet and streaming, we always watching regular TV, advertisement all day. So even if you don't play video games, you can see the commercial and you can see Hawk on it.
Yeah, that's true. We needed Elijah Carlton commercial. He needs a cartoon.
We don't need Elijah Carlton.
Man, I got a bunch of guys lined up that are saying they're gonna whoop my ass out in Las Vegas when I get out there for talking shit, not ranking them the right way, not giving them the proper respect that they want about how handsome they are. Real touchy jiu-jitsu guys, man.
You might want to hire private security when you go out.
I'm gonna show up with a neck brace, just be like, I can't. You guys can't touch me. Hey, Kemoy, before we jump off, man, what's going on next for you, and where could our listeners catch you at?
You guys could catch me at Instagram or TikTok at RatedR10P, or you can follow my business page, my promotion, Main Character Jiu-Jitsu. So that's what's going on next. I'm getting ready for my next show, my 4th show actually, which is July 23rd. I just announced the main event, which is Andy Varela versus Joseph Chen. I don't know if you guys see that.
Damn, man.
That's a big
That's
one.
A match right there.
Yeah.
So besides that, I'm just, focused on my own individual brand, just continue competing, continue making content, stuff like that.
Man, it's a pleasure to have you on, dude. Thanks for coming on. I'm sorry I missed you last week. Last week was my fault. The week before was your fault, but we finally got in and we got to do it, man. And I think you're out in Austin now, right?
Currently right now I'm in El Paso right now because I'm driving to Vegas. So I like to hang out in El Paso whenever I'm making that trip to Vegas.
Nice, man. Well, next time I'm out that way, I'll be sure to hit you up, dude. I'm sure I'll see you. Are you going to be out in PGF? Season
I'm going to Vegas. I'm gonna be at PGF. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I'll see you out there, dude. Thanks for coming on. We appreciate you. And we'll see you soon, brother.
Later, guys.
Nice to meet you, man.
Bye.
All right, take it easy, man. Bye. Let's add Isaac to Isaac the Wandering Grappler. What's going on?
What's
we got
up,
Isaac Stackhouse.
What's up, guys?
Dude, how are you doing, man?
I'm great. How are y'all?
I'm doing fantastic. So what's your official title with PGF? I didn't know what exactly to say.
I have no idea, man.
Good.
I came in around season 2 with Steven Aiken. He was competing in that. And as he was competing, I was just documenting and filming, and there's actually some of that out there on Steven's channel of the back end behind the scenes of his experience of the PGF in season 2. And I remember when we walked in the door, we walked in and like I was just newly training with Steven. I'd come over probably like a couple months before then. It was kind of new to the whole 10th Planet world and like all the homies and stuff like that. And I went up to Decatur, and when we walked in, like Steven was saying his hellos and doing all that, and Brandon like looked over Steven's shoulder, like past Steven, and was like, "I'm most excited that you're here." And I was like, "Okay." I was a cameraman. Like at that point I was still kind of cutting my teeth, figuring it out. But like now that I'm on the inside and doing this, like every time we see a guy come in with a camera in his hand, we're like, "Hey, do you kind of know what you're doing? All right, come on, you're with us." Like, so that's kind of how I got thrust into it. And then I competed on season 3. And during that season, like me and Keelan became real close, and a lot of like became friends and started working on different projects and things like that. And as we were, I just kind of fell into the production side. So official title, I'm basically Keelan when Keelan's not there. Like Keelan just walks away, and now I have to answer Keelan's question. So like
Isaac, take the wheel.
Fill the holes. Yeah, I fill the holes. And I mean, we were talking about this the other night, is that like I've just got to keep like a broad like idea of what's going on, because like Keelan might get pulled away, especially during the live show. Like y'all might have seen last season, like we'll be sitting there running a show, he's doing all the streaming, doing all the stuff, and then somebody will say Keelan, and then he'll just get up and walk away. And so I have to jump over in his seat and become him. So if I had to put a label on it, it'd be something like that.
Yeah, I was really impressed with the way you guys work together at the qualifiers. It's season 6. It's just, I think I even asked you guys, like, how many times have you set this equipment up and broken it back down again? Because I could tell you guys have put in serious reps just on that, just on taking all that shit out, getting it all configured, working, streaming, running, doing a whole show, then breaking it all back down and putting it away again and not fucking up, which is real easy to do when there's that many moving parts and there's only 2 dudes in a different spot every freaking time, man.
Yeah. No, that's something that we when we started figuring out this is what we wanted to do, we kind of got out there and we started streaming for a lot of the smaller promotions out there and like just cutting our teeth doing it. We've done tons of qualifiers and we've ironed it out, and it's one of those things that like we've just worked together so much that like Keelan and I, the last few shows we've worked, unless it's a major show like PGF where we really have to like be pulling the strings and like paying attention, is that like we can work a whole just regular show without even saying a word to each other. Like we can plug everything in, hook everything up, and we just know what the other one needs. So like, no, yeah, we found something special in being able to work together like that. And like, I mean, that dude right there, I mean, I know everybody's starting to see it and sing it, but I mean, he's a genius and he's capable of like setting things up. And if you get behind him and like help him like plug the holes and get everything moving, I mean, he's pretty capable of creating some magic. So like, that's kind of just how I've seen my role, is just kind of helping him facilitate the whole thing and just fill in whatever hole I got to.
How proud are you, excuse me, to see all of the work that you guys have been doing up on UFC Fight Pass? Like that's just got to be a real wild moment, right?
It's insane.
It's insane. Yeah, that's the perfect word for it, is that like I know that Keelan and Brandon, when they started this, like, I mean, they saw it, that they're visionaries, both of them. They saw what it could be and where it was. And then like when I jumped on board, like I'm one of those that I'm 1,000% or nothing. Like I'm all in on things when I do them. And so like when I committed to this, I mean, I looked at them multiple times and I was like, y'all do realize how big this could be, right? Like, I heard y'all referencing it with Kemoy, is that like the thing that I've referenced a lot ever since I met these guys. And I kind of felt this when I was in my MMA career, like the sport as a whole has felt about like what skateboarding was in like 1998. Yeah. And, you know, if you walked up to somebody in like the late 90s and been like, yo, skateboarding is going to be an Olympic sport, they would be like, what? No. It's an Olympic sport now, you know? And so it's like, we're in that growth, and I've said that for a while. And then, I don't know if any of y'all know, but I know that Tim probably knows him, is Nunchuck, is a guy that's been training with me, Nunchuck Alex.
Yeah. Love that guy.
Yeah. Impeccable meme maker. If you need some meme fill,
that's how I know him.
It's like a meme maker is like the modern day shoemaker. Yeah. Like, I'm an impeccable meme maker.
I am a curator of those
high crafted quality memes.
I have some.
Why I was bringing him up. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say I have some wild ass stories on Instagram, and he features on there quite heavily a lot.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying, is that like he was out in the real world the other day at
Is he a real person?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Oh, shit.
We were up at Matt Elkins' gym at 10th Planet Birmingham, and we were doing the white belt, blue belt tournament there. And people kept coming up to him and being like, "Hey, you're a real person." Like, yeah, no, I am. But
I thought you were fake.
But he said it to me at one point, and this is something that I've like really like kind of like it hit it home for me, is that like he got thrust into this when we were in last season. That was his first experience at PGF. So he's just sitting there like, you know, he's going on a couple of the smaller promotions with us. He's worked with us, kind of helped him learn the ropes a little bit. And then he got in and he got like saucer-eyed like during the week, because he's like, this is amazing. And at one point he looked at me and he goes, "Hey man, did y'all ever see that like Lords of Dogtown movie?" And I was like, yeah. He's like, "Y'all are those guys." I was like, right. Yeah, I guess we are. Like, we're kind of living that life. So, I mean, to answer your question, to see it on something like UFC Fight Pass, I mean, we all knew it could get there. We all knew it should be there. But I mean, for it to be reality and to see like Keelan posting the picture where it was like up on the like main.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, oh my, like we made that. That's crazy.
Yeah. It really is to see something go from an idea that is being talked about and that's being worked on. And I got to be real. The first few PGFs, it just was like, oh, that's Brandon and his guys doing something crazy down in Decatur. Yeah. Just like, and it's cool, but it's like Brandon's always doing wild shit. There's always something going on. And I remember it was a little different when I moved to Nashville and you guys came by. And you spent the night that one night and we stayed outside and we took glaucoma medicine and we talked about, the future, and you guys just all seemed to be in on something. It was almost like you guys knew that you were about to pull something off and head in a certain direction. Yeah. And I could sense it, but I'm like, man, they're not going to tell me about the bank they're about to rob. Like they're not going to let me in on it yet. Yeah. And then, Brandon and Keelan came by. Were you with them the second time? I think it was just Brandon and Keelan when you came by the new spot.
No, I came to the new spot. Yeah.
Yeah. You guys came by and then it was a little more like, you broke me off some more stuff and just swore me to secrecy. And I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And just to see it now in real life is, for me, it's pretty neat to watch, man. It really is. And I think there's a real cool opportunity for it to really, like, you guys are really coming up to the plate. You're getting a real at bat in the big leagues now, like against a real competition on the real stage. And I think you guys are going to hit a home run. So I'm really excited to see it, dude. I think it's going to be a great thing. I imagine the work is starting to ramp up for you though, in terms of preparation and planning.
I mean, it's one of those things that was what was weird, is that like it's ramping up, but I mean, it's not business as usual, but I mean, that's what we found out when we went and did the qualifier. Like, y'all were all like, wow, this is amazing. Me and Keelan were just doing what we always do. And that's what we kind of came away with, is that like, all right, well, we really got to do, what we always do. And there's more on the table. There's a lot more at risk. There's a lot more going on. So there's more pressure. I mean, I know the guys, Brandon and Keelan, they're at the top. And so like, as somebody who's been around people that are in that type of position pretty much my whole life, that have been around, people that have to be the decision makers, like that's a lonely world to be in, because people don't understand what the boss man has to do. And they don't, like, people will sit around the break room and they'll sit there and, complain and be like, oh, this isn't how I would do it. And you'd be like, cool, let me plop down some money in front of you and you decide who all gets it. And like that's a hard workload to work and stuff like that. So this growth, like, there's growth, but I think that this team has done so well and we've done so well with so little for so long that I think that it's business as usual. We're going to come in and blow it out of the water. I mean, Keelan and I have, been there. The team that we've put together that's coming together is some of the best, not some of, it's the best guys in the game, especially in this, in the jiu-jitsu industry. But like the creators that we have around it, I mean, guys, the documentary team that we have going on. Y'all think Grapplers 1 was good?
Yeah, I heard some of the names, man. Yeah,
bro, like that's we're coming to the big show, but we're swinging with the big bat.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you looking forward to the most? Like, is in terms of season 6, is there anything in particular that you really like? Do you like the auction? Do you like to watch any of the matches? Or you just like want to do a good job and like go home and go to sleep?
We don't sleep all week. That's how this gets so good, is that like every single day, like one thing that a lot of people don't know other than the close ones is that like during that week, like Keelan and I go back and the production team goes back and we watch the whole stream again. We watch everything. This time we're now going to have the documentary teams, like teams. So like we're going to have meetings and be able to like go through that and understand what's happening in the story live in the week. And so like, it's just, I love the PGF as a whole, as the whole week and the way that it works. It's like jiu-jitsu. Each little part plays a role in creating this thing. And like, it's different than anything else that's out there. There is no competition that does this to you. It is a gauntlet. It is this thing. I've heard some of the best guys that are in the game right now that are on the roster. I've heard them say it out loud where they're like, yeah, I train real hard every single day. I go to open mat, and these are world-class guys in this room. All right. We'll see if you're still singing the same tune on Wednesday, because it's different. It's different. I've seen some of the toughest guys I've ever met break down in the back. It's just, it takes you to a different place because it's playing a game that you can't play the game. Like, you can't play it to win. You can't try to like gamify it and win it. You just have to go out there and do the thing. You have to do the submission.
Right.
Risk. If you go out there and try to game it, you don't even make it to the final tournament.
Yeah, you don't get points.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a tricky thing. I
Yeah.
could see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You try to be safe, you're going to play it so safe you lose the match, or nobody wins the match. And if nobody wins, then you both lose.
Yep.
You know? Yeah.
Or you're a super safe guy that you waits for something or rides out to overtime or whatever your normal strategy is or however it goes. And then you decide, all right, well, this is a sub only that I have to get subs. And then you go wild. Well, yeah, you're one of the best in the world, but when you're going wild, you're taking risk.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. And that blue belt that's sitting there just hanging on for dear life could catch something. Or I don't think we have a blue belt. We have the lowest we got is a purple belt, right?
I think Davis Asari is a purple, but he's not a regular purple belt.
No,
He's a guy that
talking regular purple
tapped
belt
out Gordon Ryan in
But I
training.
mean, what is a regular purple belt now? You know what I'm saying? What is regular?
Right.
Because I mean, you're running.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're running into guys that are 19, but they've wrestled since they were 3.
Yeah.
And then they got introduced to jiu-jitsu when they were 11, and now you're like, all right, well, that's not a blue belt or a purple belt. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yes, I do know what you're saying. As a 45-year-old man, I know very well what you're saying. Yeah, there's a whole nother level and style of jiu-jitsu coming out of no-gi grappling that I think makes it like the hot thing. There's nothing in the gi world, no disrespect to the gi guys. I love the gi. Obviously, I've trained in the gi a long time, but there's nothing in the gi world that's even close to doing what the no-gi world's doing right now. It's just not happening, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no-gi jiu-jitsu is blowing up in a giant way.
I mean, especially here in the US, like no-gi just incorporates so much from wrestling. There's so many wrestlers that you have to know this stuff,
Well, and wrestling's been an international thing forever.
Forever. It's in every high school in America practically. Yeah. It's everywhere. Once the wrestlers and the jiu-jitsu guys joined hands and realized we are brothers, we're on the same team.
Yeah.
They sang "We Are the World" together. That's when no-gi went up a level.
Yeah.
It really did, man. Because now they're not. No-gi guys used to be like, fuck wrestling.
Yeah.
Like the jiu-jitsu guys, like, oh, you gonna try to shoot on me? I'll guillotine your ass. And the wrestlers were like, you just want to sit down and butt scoot. They wouldn't learn from each other.
Which is true.
It's all true.
Hey,
but
look, I'm a big fan of butt wrestling.
But yeah, me too, man.
Yeah, I'll wrestle with you, but I'm not starting from my feet where I'm getting suplexed.
Yeah.
Come on.
Only the guys that like to throw people on their heads. They're all like, "What? You don't want me to throw you on your head?"
Yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah.
There's nothing better than throwing another human being.
Yeah, I mean, it feels good to throw another
It feels
person.
so good.
It does feel good.
I mean, it does, and I mean, it's astonishing when it happens to you. I mean, that's
it really is.
Nice real reality check there.
This was actually the very first time I ever met Ryan Aiken. Was that I was training with them when he was over at Alliance, and Leo Noguera is over there at Alliance in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so I basically ended up in a private rolling session with Ryan Aiken and Leo Noguera.
Oh wow.
and I didn't realize it yet, but I had just blown my hip out. Like I had the labrum tear in my hip.
Oh, ouch.
And so all I thought was that I just had crazy lower back pain. So I was just like, oh, I'll be all right. You know, I was still fighting. I was still like, I'm tough. And Leo just blew through my guard like 100 times and was just like, why you let me blow through your guard? And I was like, I'm not trying to, man.
Yeah.
And one of the times he was getting through my guard, I got like my frame and I was like, all right, I'm going to scramble to my feet because that's a good idea. And as I scrambled to my feet, I like got turned away from him and he got that like lock on my waist. And before I knew it, I was looking at the sky and just going straight over him. And I was just like, like, yeah. So getting thrown is, you know, an astonished thing. I'm not staying on my feet to find out anymore.
Yeah. You see your feet in the lights.
Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, this is gonna hurt. Yeah, I feel you, man. Anything surprise you about season 6 in comparison to the rest of the seasons? I know it's on a bigger level. I know, you guys are doing it in a bigger venue, but anything kind of challenge you or surprise you like, oh shit, this is a little different?
No, I mean, the coaching situation comes into play a lot more than it has in the past. Cause I mean, let's be honest, the stakes that are on the line, you know, you've got money on the line. And so your coaches making the right picks is going to matter, you know, to pick the right team. If they spend all their money trying to get who they think is the best guy, and then they just get a bunch of scrubs on the rest of it, they're going to end up with, you know, one guy that may break away and he could potentially make it on his own and, you know, make that, but there's the team prize too. And, you know, if you've got that, like I heard Keelan on one of the podcasts I was on, I think I was on it with him earlier yesterday or Sunday, whatever day that was. And he was talking about the fact that like, there's gonna be people that get upset over that. And so I think that that's the only thing I'm not going to say that nothing surprises me with the PGF anymore, but like it gets pretty crazy where like you see people fold that you never would have thought would have folded. You see people back out for reasons that you'd never expect and stuff like that. But like the big thing to me that intrigues me about this season is like, what is money going to do to everybody? Because everybody that's been competing in the PGF recently, and even, I mean, run it all the way up to the scale and like whatever you want to name, you can name whatever promotion. Most of everyone, including the very best ones in the world that are doing this, are still doing it because they love it. And that's the only reason. They're not doing
you're totally right.
They're not
totally right.
Get a payday. Like there's 2 people in the world that are getting paid to do this. Everyone else is in this because they love it. And so like, what's it gonna be like when it becomes like the NBA, when it becomes like the MLB, and like people start, you know, getting their egos in the way and things in the way, when it boils down to money and it's not just honor, which is what it always was in the past. So like, that's what intrigues me about this season, is just seeing what does that influx do to the competition? Like, does it make it sweeter? Does it make it more like confrontational, or, you know, is it going to be that type of thing? Like that part of the story is the unknown to me.
Yeah, I think the answer is yes to all of it. I think especially as that pot of money grows.
Oh yeah.
You know, you start and I really think it will happen. Wait till each guy gets $200,000.
Yeah.
Then you're going to see some serious issues in terms of like, why did you draft that guy?
Yeah.
Or like, how come you did this during your match? Why didn't you do that? You fucked up and lost for the team.
I anticipate there's going to be demands for qualifiers to get to the qualifiers.
Yeah. Pre-quals. You got to pre-qualify, baby.
That's and look, me personally, as far as like how all this has grown and whatnot, like the part that I'm in love with of this is like I said, that like 1998 like skateboarding vibe, like where you're like in the streets and you're playing.
I feel you.
Ball. Like, so the qualifiers is my favorite part, which one, that was my route in. My route in was that I showed up to every single one of the qualifiers and just showed out every single time that I was going to be willing to go out there and die. Did it play out well for me? Yeah. But it's a route, and it's a way that like, I don't know, it's an equalizer of the culture, and it makes it kind of feel a lot more for the culture, by the culture. Like, it's built by grapplers. I feel you. It's for grapplers. It's for us to go have fun. Like, I've never had more fun at tournaments than like the thing we did at Matt's on Saturday at 10th Planet Birmingham, where it was a bunch of white belts. They did some like quintets and stuff, but we ran the PGF rule set, and the quintets were like upper belts, and so you got to see some of the black belts and brown belts roll. And like, it was just like a bunch of dudes hanging out and ladies like hanging out in the room, doing the thing, and it feels like just a big open mat and a bunch of like, you know, somebody gets dunked on and everybody's like, ah! Like,
Yeah.
you know, like that stuff. Like when you watch the qualifier, like the EBI qualifiers that happen out in LA, like that vibe of just everybody's on the mat, it's just dingy. Like that's what I love about it. So like this escalation to like where we went from that to this like mainstay of like a sports, like we're going to the fight capital of the world to do it, like we're doing it, you know, in partnership with like UFC stuff. So like it's this huge growth that like as it's happened, we've seen this massive culture shift of like now there's people that, you know, I've heard people that want to start running the PGF rule sets that are just, it's just like people just being like, yeah, EBI rule set.
So right. PGF rule set. Yeah, I feel you.
That we've created that culture. And so like that's what I'm in love with that.
I would like that just to chuck yellow flags at people when I get fucking bored watching.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Brandon's relentless with that thing. I love it.
I'm
excited about that thing.
Me too.
I think it will change the complexion of the matches for sure. The fact that he can throw that flag out and crack you with it, and you can get penalized. Yeah, I think that'll be good to keep the action going.
He gave it a proper name so he wouldn't get in trouble, but that is a bullshit flag.
Yeah,
that's
it
it.
is.
Change it. Yeah. Bullshit.
Yeah,
it should be a horn that he blows like a. If he blows it twice, like the clown from Showtime at the Apollo comes out. Yeah, he sweeps you off of the mat, and you gotta go. Everybody jeers, boo. Yeah. You know, I know the vibe you're talking about, that vibe. And I told my son this when we went down to headquarters the last time, and they had, you know, qualifiers going, and it's on a Saturday night, and it's in downtown LA, and you got to go through the alley to get in, and everyone's like participating in whatever they're participating in, and the matches are going on, and it's the rawest vibe in Southern California that's going on.
Yeah.
Like if somebody knew that shit was going on, they would be down there trying to capture it on film, like in a big way. Cause it's really raw and it's by jiu-jitsu guys. Yeah. It's not like some outside thing. I get what you're saying. All of jiu-jitsu has always been that way. It's been a bunch of jiu-jitsu people basically building jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And that's what it is right now. It's just that the particular platform that has been built on a big enough stage that more than just the jiu-jitsu audience is going to see it now. Like it's going to get eyeballs outside of that, and then potentially outside of that. And there's it just, you know, like people look at skateboards and they're like, dude, there's no way people are going to skateboard.
Yeah.
It'll never be in the Olympics.
I'm actually thinking about that a lot right now. Since you guys pointed out the skateboarding sort of metaphor, I came up with that. I used to skateboard. I used to do.
And where did you skateboard? On the streets
with other skaters on the streets until we finally got something built.
It was very rare. There was no skateboard schools. I'm in a skateboard academy with 30 other park. Yeah.
No.
You
your friend's older brother might know a guy who skates, and then you have to figure out his address in the yellow book or something like that, and then figure out where he's at, what high school he goes to, and see if he can teach you how to ollie.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Jiu-jitsu still has that raw edge.
Yeah.
It's gonna be awesome. You know, I'm glad for it for this reason right here. I would like to see some of these guys that are athletes. Some of them are my friends in real life. Some of them have been doing this for a really long time. I think it'd be dope to see them get paid, to actually see people make a living on it in a bigger way than what it is now. Like, I think that would be fucking awesome to see, and I think it's gonna happen. I really do. I think it's going to have all the growing pains that come along with it. And there's going to be people that get with it and people that won't get with it. But the momentum and the movement of the water is already going in that direction. And once it builds up enough force, it's not going to be stopped. One person's not going to stand in front of it and stop it. It's just going to overwhelm you. So you may as well get in and swim, bitches. Get some of that money. Let's go, baby.
No, I mean, it's great seeing that come into the community and like people support it. I mean, I was listening to Rogan talk to Matt Serra and those guys, and they were talking about like the UFC back when him and Eddie were talking about like, wouldn't this be great? Like if, you know, just a couple billionaires just got involved and just dumped their money in it. So
how cool it is.
And it's like, oh, well, that's exactly what happened to them. Like they had
Yeah.
somebody who like thought this was dope and was like, here, let's make it doper. And you know, I think PGF is kind of going through that like crescendo, and because of who's at the head of it, everybody's moving forward. Like that's one thing that like I can praise Brandon pretty highly on, is the fact that like he's worked diligently to make sure that it's not like boom, Brandon's success. Like Brandon's being really successful. He has a lot of things that are going on and a lot of great things that are happening, but he's done the like, and this is what me personally have like, I've kind of latched onto, and what I've found in the 10th Planet world is that like, that's how most, if not all, the 10th Planet homies are like, is that like when they find success, they turn around and grab anybody that's behind them and throws them in front of them.
Yeah.
And
that comes from Eddie. That comes from Eddie.
That's deeply rooted with Eddie. That's one of the, I've been spending some time like kind of chasing around a story about combat jiu-jitsu, kind of framing the same thing that me and Keelan learned from PGF, is that like, that's a story that I feel like that needs to be told, is that like Eddie's the kind of guy that like, he gives people a chance, and and it's not the kind of chance that people think about. It's like, all right, you know, I have to be perfect in this chance. And it's like, no. You just got to show up and show you're down.
Yeah.
If you're down, we got your back. No win, lose, draw, because like we all understand this is a wild world we live in, and especially the world that we run, like anything could happen. So you can't expect somebody to always be perfect, but if they're showing up and they're down for the cause and they're a warrior and they're going to throw it down and they're going to, where we're talking about competing or producing or doing it, like those are the type chances I've seen get given out in the 10th Planet world that usually wouldn't be given to most guys. Like you see the team, you've met the team, you've met me and Keelan and all these guys. How are y'all existing? And we're like, oh, we don't know.
We don't know.
Just hang around. We have permission to be here.
That's what I feel like anytime I'm walking around Tim. I'm like, talk to him. He just asked me to be here. So I don't know why.
So like that's something that, like I said, I can praise Brandon really, really, really highly on the fact that like early on in this process, the OGs, the people that have been in there since, you know, early, if not day one, like it was like, yo, if you're on board and you stay on this ship, like a rising tide raises all ships, right?
Yeah.
So like, you know, if you were willing to put in the work, like these guys, like they'll take care of you. And so like that's something that I don't see broadly throughout, and so like that's something that I love about the like 10th Planet world and like what we built around it and things like that. And now like it feels like the rest of the jiu-jitsu culture is kind of like starting to catch on. Like I was in Mexico for an ADCC and was hanging out with a bunch of the 10th Planet crew. Like there were some of the Freaks guys and like people like literally sitting at a table for pizza. There was like Alabama, Mexico, Germany, like just like a bunch of 10th Planet guys, but nobody was from the same place. And then a Gracie Baja guy had met some of the people at the weigh-ins and was like, yo,
kill him. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, no, he was like, hey, can like I sit with you guys? Because he saw a bunch of jiu-jitsu folks. And so we were like, yeah, sit down, plus Americans, you know? And so like he was like, oh, okay, some English. Like, can I sit down and like eat with y'all? Yeah, we were sure. And he like figured out that thing about how many people where everybody was from. And he was like, do y'all do this everywhere? And we were like, yeah, that's why we're on the team. Like, homies, like we're catching up. We're doing things. Like we're gonna go do like 10th Planet stuff together. Like, yeah, we're here.
We're like in a big club. We're gonna do 10th Planet stuff together.
It's almost like Hell's Angels as far as it being international.
Yeah, but it's like we're not doing crazy stuff though, you know.
Some of us are doing crazy stuff.
What are we doing, Tim? We're just learning how to like choke people and break their legs.
Yo, by the way, are you a narc? Shut the fuck up. What are you talking about?
But like, you know, we're out there and I mean that whole thing, that whole community is something that like I fell in love with when I met Steven and like kind of like started getting introduced to that whole world. And that opened up the door to the PGF and Brandon and all these guys. And so I mean, I don't know, man. I tell people regularly, like, I'll just be like, man, I'm living in the middle of a damn movie right now. Like, just everything that's happening everywhere I look, everything that's going on, it's just like this is, and that may be my like filmmaking lens that I see, but like when you sit back and take a deep breath and realize what all's going on and like what's on the horizon, it's just like, I mean, it's mind-boggling.
It is, man. I'm stoked for it.
Isaac, what do you think going forward is going to be like the toughest thing for the public, just like the average man on the street, to digest from jiu-jitsu, like going forward?
As a whole?
Yeah.
Yeah, as a sport.
Yeah, like as the sport evolves.
It's the confusion on rule sets is that like until we get to where we can all agree, it's so hard to watch and like try to explain to somebody, well, he won because he didn't quite pass the ball. He was trying really hard and the ref like that's so hard to explain to somebody who's used to watching like NBA.
He said he was trying really hard. He tried really hard.
That's the ref's advantage, is it not? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like he was trying super hard.
True.
The ref thinks he tried harder, so he let him win. Yeah, pretty much that's it. What a crazy fucking way to win, right?
That's what I'm saying. Like we have world champions that are multiple-time world champions for exactly that.
They tried harder.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, well then let's just admit what it is instead of like trying to like gamify it, because then when you gamify it, then you get those things where there was like that 3-week long discussion about whatever that win-loss was at ADCC of like whether or not the guys exposed or whatnot. They talked about that for 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know. I was talking about it. I get it.
It was a nuance, and so like we're arguing over nuance, and so between that and when the promotions realize that there are people out there that are producing these shows to the professional level that can do it, and they figure out ways to like bring those guys in and like compensate them in some way, or do like once the growth realizes, because like let's admit it, most of the stuff that's out there as far as like the live streaming stuff, it's not easy to watch, and a lot of it has to do with the camera work, and like some people don't realize this, but like Keelan was the very first one to be running a gimbal in the action for a live show. Like that style was brought into the like hemisphere, not hemisphere, but like brought in
the jiu-jitsu sphere. Yeah.
The jiu-jitsu sphere. Yeah. It was brought in by Keelan and by Brandon and by them doing it this way. And like, one of the big things that Keelan and I really harp on with our getting our cameramen that run that gimbal, they need to know how to run the gimbal, which is a skill set in of its own. Like Keelan has like broken it down. We've worked on a couple different instructional ideas that we tried to like teach people how to do this, because you need the guy that's the camera guy that knows how to like manage his camera, but almost as important, if not more importantly, they need to train and have an understanding of what they're watching. Because how many times are you watching, like I said, name whatever promotion you want, and you're watching the match and there's something happening, but you're looking at two buttholes.
It's so true.
There's a camera over here, there's a camera right here, and maybe if you're lucky, there's a camera up top, and that's it. And they're cutting between 3 cameras, and if they're over in that corner and their backs are to you, you're just watching 2 people lay on each other, and all you can see is their butts. And so when you bring it in and you get that close thing, and somebody who's been training and somebody who understands like where to look and how to frame it and how to put it, it's so much more entertaining to watch and so much easier to follow. Like, you know, my dad I've been in this for 14 years. And so like, he doesn't understand jiu-jitsu to a full extent. He's understood it more, especially now that I'm teaching a lot here, and he's like coming in and he'll like watch my classes and stuff. But like, if he's watching it on that style where like the camera's following the action and seeing the stuff, and then like I said, we then shift to a rule set like PGF where it's plain and simple. Did he win or not? We know a draw is a loss. And so like there's not that much to keep up with. So I'm just watching two guys fight, but they're just not hitting each other. I can understand that.
Yeah.
You know?
And you can understand a choke, and you can understand an arm lock, and there's no gi in the way, so you could see it.
Yeah.
And the point system values the chokes a little higher, and that kind of gives an implied meaning to it that it's a more serious submission. Like, I think it's not that hard to follow. You know, if you are interested in watching people fight, and most people, even people that say they don't like violence, they will stop to watch two people fight. They just will. They just will. So.
Yeah, if a fight breaks out in the street, everybody's being like, what's going on over there?
Oh, yeah. They're recording it.
My favorite is like the guy at the bar, or like he, you know, maybe a college student who thinks he's like too educated for like a UFC, and the whole time you're at the bar and he's like, oh my God, I can't believe how barbaric it is.
God.
Like, are you all seeing this? Is everybody seeing how am I the only one it's like, yeah, we know you're watching it. Of course you're watching it. It's entertaining. Like,
it's like someone killed a pussy in the room because he's killing it.
No, but it's so true about the camera angles, man. That's such a great point. Like, that makes it so much more enjoyable to watch.
Imagine watching a basketball game where they can't follow the basketball.
I don't like basketball in general, so I can't imagine that.
I mean, it would be the equivalent of that, or like watching a football game that's on one camera angle.
Yeah,
you know?
Right.
Like, I mean, dude, the NFL has a camera that swings out on the side.
I know, dude. It's fucking rad.
Like, like
they got drones and shit.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying, is that like you have to have multiple camera angles, and you have to be getting in the action to really, really appreciate what's going on. And so like I think that, like, to answer your question, the lay person's gonna start paying more attention when we start treating it like we're on ESPN. And like before we're on ESPN, I think that's what made PGF so special and made it this way, is that like Keelan and I and the production crew and Brandon, like we've treated this like we're on ESPN every chance that we've gotten. Now, has it always delivered and looked like we're on ESPN? Yeah, we've come really close a couple times. But like this next go round, I think that we've had all those hiccups. We've had all the different things. We know how the aesthetics need to look. We know, like, we've worked with a lot of professionals now. We've worked alongside a lot of professionals. And like, we've also worked alongside some of the best in the game. So it's like, we see the tricks. We see what to do. We know how it is. Like when we first really doubled down, when Keelan and I were working together, we watched, I'm going to not remember the name of the video, but there was a video that we've watched probably 100 times now, is that it was Symphony of a Sunday. That's what it was. And it was behind the scenes look of Sunday with the NFL team that I don't pay attention to anything other than jiu-jitsu. I can't remember what.
100 times, huh?
Yeah. One of the teams that wears a helmet.
Yeah. One of those teams. And but it was one of the big teams. And I mean, there's literally like, I think there was like 3,500 people on the like production list of like the jobs. And Keelan and I looked at each other at one point and we're like, are we doing 3,500 jobs? And so like, but watching that, like we're watching, you know, it's like trying to get really good at, you know, free throws. Watch Jordan do it. Watch LeBron do it. Watch the best do it, and then go try to repeat it. Yeah. And like and I mean, back to our skateboarding reference that we were making, that's how skateboarding got good. Is that like, that's how they would watch videos. And like, that was my introduction to filmmaking. I grew up watching skate videos and kayak videos, like the like kayakers that are like going off waterfalls and stuff like that. Grew up like going to the local kayak shop, just buying DVDs and swapping DVDs with local kayakers and stuff, like to watch that stuff. And so like that style of documentation of like just grabbing whatever camera's closest and just like filming in the like guerrilla style and stuff is like what brought me into that. And so like the skateboarders, like in that video world, they got good because they would trade VHSs or they trade the different things before YouTube. And then when YouTube came in, it took off because you could go watch the best guy in the world at skateboarding and watch it and slow it down and figure out how he did his trick and figure out all the different stuff. And it was because there were people documenting it. And so like you know, that's been my call to all of this. That's why like I do all of it, is that like it's like the story about the 10th planet and things like that, of like how people perceive it and see it. Like I want it to be as close and raw to what it is.
Yeah, to the honest thing of what it really is. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, also just like how in skateboarding, I mean, I know we're kind of beating this horse to death here, but the same people that were filming the skateboarders were on skateboards themselves, and they were skateboarders. You know, it's just like you said, like
a couple of those dudes were actually also pro skaters,
right? And so it's just like how Isaac said, like you need somebody who's doing that activity in order to know like what to look for, you know,
what's important.
So,
like to see the thing. Like that's, I mean, on that reference, like Spike Jones is like one of my favorite like filmmakers, and some of the stuff that I learned and a lot of the things was like watching his career and learning how he did all that stuff and how he created and how he like framed things and the thought process and the different things like that. Like that was a lot of what I draw on in my filmmaking.
Isaac, I am stoked for PGF season 6, dude. It's great talking to you. I can't wait to get on the plane out here in Nashville and fly out to Las Vegas, man.
I'm jealous.
I know it's going to be an epic weekend. I know it's going to be fun. I love hanging out with you guys. I know it's a lot of work, but you're just in a room full of people that are pretty much just like you. Addicted to jiu-jitsu. They love documenting it. They love talking about it, filming it, being part of it. And it's going to be like a super friends meetup, man. I can't wait to be out there, and really looking forward to it, man.
I'm excited.
Hey, how can our listeners catch you on Instagram or any of your socials?
I got multiple personalities out there, but
I have multiple personality disorder.
But you can find me on Instagram, The Wandering Grappler, or I'll follow you back at The Daily Stack. And then on my YouTube channel is also The Daily Stack. That's where I put a lot of my film projects and things right now that I'm working on. But they can find me any of those places.
Isaac Stackhouse, you are a national treasure, my man, dude. I can't wait to see you again.
Man, I'm excited.
Have a good one, brother.
Talk to you again, man.
Yeah, cool.
Peace.
See ya.
Dude, I am so stoked for PGF. I'm so excited. I'm like
every time we talk to somebody else, and every time we talk to somebody else, and every day that it draws closer, I get more upset that I'm not going.
Yeah, I'm not upset that you're not going.
I know.
I'm
which
like,
it sort of makes me even more upset.
Like, I'm gonna go.
I hope you're on a Boeing.
My name's
jeez.
I'm flying Delta.
Don't they use Boeing?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's the company, not the plane.
I don't care, dude. I'm taking the chance, man. I'm getting on that damn plane, and no one's gonna stop me.
Yeah.
I got to get.
So when is this PGF again? What's the date?
April 21st is the draft. Season starts on 22nd, and you'll be able to catch that on the UFC Fight Pass's YouTube channel. You can catch it on Brandon McCaffrey's YouTube channel, BJJ World YouTube channel. It'll be multi-streamed for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, right? And then Friday, which I believe is the 26th, will be the finale, and that'll be the 8-man tournament.
Yeah.
The guys that collected the most points, top 8 guys, and they'll compete. Is it 8 or 16? It's 8. It's top 8, yeah.
Top 8.
So the pre-show is going to be streamed 30 minutes before each show on the YouTube channels, and then it'll be on Fight Pass on the Friday. They'll do the 30-minute pre-show, and then they'll have the event. I think we're going to do a post-show also, but I'm not sure exactly how that's going to work. But I think we're pretty much wanting to do it. We're all going to be there to be working for them and to do it, so we may as well do it. Like, we'll have athletes right there on the spot. We could talk to them about the matches that they had that night, talk to the coaches, talk to the people that are there. Like, I think it'll be a great setup.
Just what is that, like a week and a half away, a week away?
I know, dude. I'm getting a little nervous about it, but I'm pretty excited for it.
You have a lot of people that are waiting for you.
Oh, dude, all these. Listen, man.
I would help you if I was going.
Brandon, one of the things he said was like, "Hey,
don't bring Andrew."
He said, "Don't bring Andrew," and then number 2, don't bring Andrew.
He wouldn't have said that. He wouldn't have said that.
He said, "Look, I need you to like
not bring in
stir this, you know,
really.
like
Yeah.
bring some of these guys to life the best that you can.
Right.
And I just happen to have a really good needle. You know what I mean? Like I can just like poke at guys just right enough to get a reaction from them.
Right.
Keeping it playful as much as I possibly can. Although today I was called out online by Elijah Carlton. He said he said him and I were going to be settling something.
Oh yeah.
When I get out there, I would love to train with these guys.
Yeah.
I really would. Like I know these guys are way past. Yeah, I'm 46 years old, dude. I ain't all that at all. But I would still love to get on the mats and train with them.
Get them with the old man.
Fuck yeah, dude, just have fun, dude.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. And hey, what better way to get to know these guys so I have things to talk about than to actually roll with them? Of
course.
Get a feel for them.
Yeah.
See what
especially when I'm going to be sending out some messages to a few of them.
a message in listen to what Tim said about you privately.
Yeah.
So Carlton doesn't like that. A while ago, they had hit up 10P Nashville to do a seminar like, hey, you interested? And I just kind of read it and didn't respond. And he chimed in live on Grappling Hour yesterday and said, like, you left me on red when I asked you about a seminar.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know. I just got it.
That's a dick move.
First of all, it was
He should probably choke you out for doing that.
It was a cold call, first of all. It was just a cold, like, hey, are you interested?
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot of things, so there's a high chance.
You do have a lot going on.
I looked at it, and then I said, I'll get back to that, and then I just moved on.
As someone who tries to assist you with everything, you do have a lot going on.
So there's that, but I don't think he's going to buy the excuse. And Handsome Kevin doesn't like that I said he was a 7. I don't know if you guys heard this. He says he's Handsome Kevin.
Yeah.
He's like the hot guy at work. He's not the hottest guy in the world.
I mean,
he's
you're
the hot guy at work.
You're gonna piss somebody off, right? Like
You got to.
Not everybody can be number one.
Isn't that the whole point? Give him a little personality.
You know, I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing in this sport is that you can rank people, and then the people, if they don't like your ranking, could choke you out.
Kill you.
yeah, literally.
Yeah, it doesn't. The
You can't do that anywhere else.
Tennessee Titans don't care what you think of their defense.
Right.
They're not showing up to the local guy's football team because the local guy don't play football.
Yeah.
You know? But it's like, this fucking guy could just like be like, oh,
They're
I'm
not
gonna fuck
gonna-
you up now.
Yeah, I'll drop in.
I'll drop in. I'll come by.
Yeah.
You're just going to look up your head coach on Instagram and be like, oh, I'll be there in a month.
Yeah.
Guys, thanks, man.
Awesome.
Good show.
Awesome
Appreciate
show.
you guys.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks
It was
for
a lot of
having
fun.
me. You want to take us out, homie?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you guys for listening tonight. Turn that down a little bit. Jeez. Please check us out at Inside BJJ on Instagram, at cultist.apparel, also Instagram, and at everydayjujitsu_, also on Instagram. Please consider donating to our Guardian project at 10pnashville.com/Guardian. Check out 10P Nashville and 10P Stockton if you're in either area, and download the Inside BJJ app. Thank you very much.